The art of letting go. Once upon a time, in a quaint seaside town, there lived a young woman named Emma. The town was known for its picturesque sunsets and the comforting sound of waves crashing against the shore. Emma had grown up here, her life intertwined with the rhythm of the sea. However, the town's beauty was marred by the deep sorrow she carried within her heart. 2 years had passed since her mother's sudden death. Grief had clung to Emma like a second skin, an ever-present shadow that darkened her days and haunted her nights. She had tried everything to move forward, but nothing seemed to work. Her mother's absence was a void she couldn't fill. Today, on her mother's birthday, Emma decided it was time to let go. Not to forget, but to release the grip of sorrow that had taken hold of her life. The box she held contained tokens of her mother's life: a locket with a faded photograph, a handwritten recipe for her famous apple pie, and a small seashell they had collected on a long-ago beach trip. Each item was a piece of her mother's essence, and each held the power to tear her apart or set her free. Emma stood at the edge of the pier, the salty breeze whipping her hair into a frenzy. She clutched a small, weathered box to her chest, feeling the weight of memories it contained. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the ocean, painting a serene picture that contrasted sharply with the storm raging inside her. Emma took a deep breath, inhaling the familiar scent of the sea. She opened the box and gently took out the locket, holding it up to the light. The photo inside was of her mother as a young woman, laughing freely. It was a side of her she barely remembered but cherished deeply. With a trembling hand, she kissed the locket and whispered, "I love you, Mom." She let it fall into the water, watching as it sank slowly, disappearing into the depths. Next was the recipe. Her mother had written it down one rainy afternoon, her handwriting looping elegantly across the page. Emma remembered the warmth of the kitchen, the smell of cinnamon, and the sound of her mother's laughter. She tore the paper into small pieces, scattering them into the wind. The fragments fluttered like fragile butterflies before being carried away, mingling with the sea breeze. Finally, she held the seashell. It was smooth and white, its surface polished by years of ocean tides. This was the hardest to let go. It represented the countless summers they had spent together, the stories shared, and the lessons learned. Emma closed her eyes, pressing the shell to her heart. She stood there for a long time, feeling the pulse of the waves beneath her feet, the rhythm of the earth grounding her. When she was ready, she opened her eyes and placed the shell gently into the water. It bobbed for a moment before being taken by the current, carried away on a journey of its own. Emma watched until it was just a speck on the horizon. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma felt a strange sense of peace. She had expected to feel emptier, but instead, she felt lighter. The act of letting go had not erased her pain, but it had transformed it. It was no longer a burden, but a part of her story, a chapter she could revisit without being trapped by it. Emma turned away from the pier, her steps sure and steady. The path ahead was uncertain, but she felt ready to face it. Her mother's love was no longer a weight, but a whisper, guiding her forward. In learning to let go, Emma had found the art of holding on to what truly mattered.